going on a Sunday morning? It's NFL action, I understand it, but my goodness here, the college football playoff has been announced. Notre Dame out, Miami in. Unbelievable, Tom. So before we get to the NFL slate, just your thoughts on seeing that right there. We had to delay the show because that was craziness.
Yeah, so we were sitting here for the last, 15 minutes just waiting for things to get going. Yeah. It's good to see the Canes in. Donnie, I know you've always been an adamant proponent of saying college football is better when the U is good and when the U is strong. Yeah. So it's good to see. So like seeing the bracket come out now and then make it as good. Notre Dame, like they had their chances. I know they played awesome to end the season, but when you start off the season poorly, it also helps that they're not in a conference. Like join a conference and stop this nonsense.
It was right. It would, like Miami should have always been in over Notre Dame. They shouldn't have a TV show because we shouldn't know any of this stupidness where they paint themselves in the corner. Then you knew something was up last week when they flipped Notre Dame and Alabama, but also Alabama not dropping after getting shellacked yesterday. Like Alabama to me should have been out, Notre Dame should have been in, and Miami's in. But it's crazy the way that happened. But it is what it is, Tom. And we get to some action here on the NFL gridiron today. We got to speed it up on the show today because we don't have much time, Tom. First game up, Washington and Minnesota. 1.5 is a favorite on the opening number here towards Minnesota, as you see right here on the screen. But if we're looking today, Tom, 1.5 it flips over to Washington because Daniels is the starting quarterback. To me, I actually think this game has a legitimate chance to get points. I like Justin Jefferson in this game at his low clip in the low 60s to go over that number. I am worried about J.J. McCarthy, but we're in a dome, Tom. No weather conditions to worry about here.
This is honestly one of the most difficult games we've had all season, where we have Daniels coming back from his third injury this season. How effective is he going to be? You like to see that the wide receivers got back last week, so they should have the offense operating somewhat normally. The Washington defense is abysmal. We know that. And J.J. McCarthy has also been absolutely abysmal. So it's like when a stoppable force meets a movable object kind of matchup. It's like if J.J. McCarthy can't get the ball to Justin Jefferson in this matchup, when would he ever get the ball to him? Because this is one of the worst defenses in the league. So, and to your point, we never get J-Jeff at this low of a prop number. If he can't get over it now, then there's no hope for him.
Yeah, no hope for him. I mean, this is the day you have to perform against this bad defense. We'll see if they do. I actually agree with the line movement here because Minnesota hasn't shown us much on offense. But if there's one day where we get a semblance of offense, Minnesota should be able to do that damage today here, Tom.
One quick thing. I know we have to kind of go through these, but we say this all the time in baseball. Like the line that I always use, it's like we have a terrible pitcher on one side. It's like, if not now, when? Correct. For McCarthy, if you can't get it done now, when would you get it done in what other type of matchup?
You're 1,000% correct on that, Tom. Game number 2 today, Miami and New York, Tagovailoa versus Taylor. This has some interesting line movement, Tom. 61% of the tickets here, as we see on the screen, actually coming in on the Miami Dolphins, but that line was 3, has now dropped to 2.5 across the board, and I agree with that here. Mm-hmm. Tom, it's cold. You're in the Northeast with me, but here's the thing. 40 degrees, there's no wind outside where I'm at MetLife Stadium, 5 winds or less. I actually think we get points this game with a legitimate chance to go over the 41.5, but I do think the Jets are a sharp side today. However, Tom, I like them way better at 3 than I do at 2.5 right now.
Absolutely agree on all sides. I will say we should preface this at the top. There's a lot of weather concerns today across Tampa, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Buffalo, Green Bay. Nothing significant, but there's like a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind, a little bit of snow. Nothing is overwhelming. So absolutely love the Jets at 3, like you said, not the 2.5. Tua is 0-7 or 0-8 in games that are below 40 degrees. But Tua is also, the Jets are 7-0, Jets are 0-7 versus Tua. And also Tua just doesn't win in the cold. So give me the Jets. Give me a decent amount of score, and I think this game comes down to another field goal, as we did last week.
By the way, look at this game, too. Like, there's a couple decent options here, but both of the running backs, Tom, really should be getting going today in this one.
They really should. I also like A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell for the Jets. He has cemented himself as the new number 1 without Garrett Wilson. And I think they need to continue to get the ball to him just to almost see what they have in him, because they traded – for him, and they got him in the Sauce Gardner deal. But if you could pair him alongside Garrett Wilson next season, once Wilson's back, like A.D. Mitchell could be a solid wide receiver too. Get the ball to him.
I'm telling you today, Tom, even looking back at the last 2 games where we had starts by Tyrod Taylor, they let him throw close to 30 times. We'll do it again today. Somebody's got to catch those passes. And A.D. Mitchell, I believe, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 12 targets in his last game, so clearly a favorite for Tyrod Taylor at this spot here. Tennessee and Cleveland, there's so much intrigue in this game, Tom, because you see the numbers listed here. 3.5 as a favorite for Cleveland. Some outlets showing 4.5 at DraftKings here. Let me just slide it over to see what else. 3.5, 3.5. Okay, we'll call it 3.5 at this point. The total, 33.5. All I keep hearing this morning is evaluation time on Shedeur Sanders, which means somebody in that lineup, Tom, is going to have to produce here when we're talking about, running backs, wide receivers, on Cleveland. How are you playing this? Because I stayed away from this, but I feel like I wanted to take Jerry Jeudy at that unbelievably low number because I think Shedeur throws 25-plus times today.
He has to, and this, like you said, this is a really soft spot for him. He had a really soft spot versus the Raiders. Versus the 49ers, I'm not going to say it was a great spot. There was also a ton of weather. But Jerry Jeudy, if he gets 5 targets, he really should be able to get over 31.5 yards. I will say that there's also been a ton of talk about Myles Garrett and his sack, and he's chasing the sack. I'll say this. On FanDuel, his sack props are unbettable. But on DK, Garrett for 2+ sacks is minus 215. But you could also bet him over 1.75 sacks. So in order for him to go over that, he needs to have 2. That's at minus 136. So when you click on sacks versus sacks over under, DK often has very different lines. So if he goes over 1.75, he's having 2 sacks, and you get that at minus 136 compared to minus 215. So,
by the way, that total, Tom, today, 33.5. Now, we checked some of the weather conditions there. Cloudy, 34. It's not terrible for Cleveland. Under 10-mile-an-hour winds, you should be able to throw the football today. But the adage is Cleveland's defense is so nasty, and you see so many sacks that Cam Ward takes there. I don't know where the points are coming from Tennessee, but I do think Cleveland can move the football today. And maybe just a byproduct, Tom, of that nasty defense putting them in a really good field position.
Right. We're getting snow in this game. But it's not going to be a lot. So it's going to be snowing, but it's not going to be heavy. Judkins really should be in for a big game. But, again, give me some balance with Shedeur. And, again, 5 targets for Jeudy should put him over 31.5.
Yeah. If it leaves, again, sometimes the numbers don't work out. But Jerry Jeudy getting 5 targets today and not getting, let's just say, 35 yards would be incredible to watch you play. And we'll see. And again, they're going to let him throw the football today. We'll find out. Game script always matters in the game. Who has the lead, who doesn't. And we'll see what happens in that one. Pittsburgh and Baltimore. 6.5-point line at FanDuel, Tom, early in the week. This one now has been seen 5.5, 5.5, and a total of 43.5, down from 46.5. I can't stand the Pittsburgh offense. I'm waiting on Baltimore's offense today here, but the interesting part to me is MVS is up for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, again, not a great wide receiver, but now, thank God, somebody has a deep threat where you can run some coverage off. I don't like Pittsburgh today. I like Baltimore. I can't stand both of these teams. When I line these up, I just can't put my money on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Tom. I can't do it.
I can't. There were some reports earlier today that the Steelers are going to look to get both MVS and newly acquired Adam Thielen into the offense. I haven't seen any Thielen props. I was looking around to try and find them because Thielen's not a player that has a super deep ADOT, average depth of target, but also Rodgers is trying to get the ball out super quickly, as we saw last week versus Buffalo. He's not taking 7-step drops. So I was looking for Thielen numbers. There's nothing on MVS on FanDuel or DK. No Adam Thielen. But Adam Thielen could realistically have Donnie, what would his prop be? 9.5, 11.5?
Under 10.
Right? So I was looking give me an Adam Thielen number, and I would alt him to 20 yards, right? And get plus 150 at it. That's what I was looking for. There's just no props out there for Thielen. And he's active today with MVS.
And also, because you understand this too, he's coming in for certain packages, which means the line will be in his favor. So he doesn't have to remember 60 pass routes on 60 plays. It does make sense. I don't see anything there up on FanDuel at this point. Lamar, 224.5. Aaron Rodgers, 204.5. Rushing props, again, are going to be high in this game because you saw last week, got bully balled there from the Buffalo Bills going up against the Steelers. 80.5 for Derrick Henry, which is a steep price. Warren is 50.5. And then they just stick that Lamar Jackson 25.5 out here and just trying to bait you to taking the over. But I got to tell you, Tom, if we're looking at all these numbers, doesn't this guy right here, Kenneth Gainwell, just keep popping up 24? He's going to get 6 carries in this game. He's going to get 6 carries.
Rodgers likes him. Rodgers likes throwing the ball to him quickly. What's his rushing plus receiving? Do we have that? It's 46.5. It's a little bit high. I might take him just on the rushing. He's going to have his chances, and he needs to perform. They need to have him out there as a viable option in the offense just because they just don't have a lot of weapons. Yeah.
Well, it should be a fun one to watch you play out there, see how it goes. But I'm done with Pittsburgh. I'm completely out on Pittsburgh, so I'm going to be shading some of my judgment on this one here. Seattle, Atlanta, Tom. Not a lot of fun in this game overall. 7.5 is a favorite, dropped to around 7, 6.5, depending where you're shopping at 44.5. Atlanta is really bad. I love Seattle's defense. Kirk Cousins can't move. They shouldn't have a semblance of a passing game. So I'm always like the correlated market would be, if you're betting Atlanta, just take Bijan Robinson props. If he hits them, they'll be in the game. If not, they get blown out. But sometimes it feels like, Tom, when you take Seattle in this spot, it's like a 24-21 victory for them.
It really shouldn't be. Like, this is a game that if Seattle is... If they think they're as good as they think they are, if that makes sense, like, they should be handling this game against the Falcons. Like, we saw what the Jets offense, which is pretty terrible, did to the Falcons last week. They had some success. The Seahawks should be able to, like, double that, considering that they're in a dome and they're not worrying about weather conditions. So it should be a big JSN bounce back game who did absolutely nothing last week. It should be Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker. It should be those guys in the mix, and they should handle this game by 10 plus points. And if Bijan doesn't have 20 plus carry or 20 plus total touches for the Falcons, something went wrong for them.
Yeah, no, you're right. And by the way, the first couple games we did, Tom, Washington, Minnesota, no real weather concerns. Miami Jets, cool conditions, no real weather concerns. Tennessee and Cleveland, going to be cold, not really like we saw it, was it the 49ers game? It's like, dude, you can't bet that game. It was just 50-mile-an-hour winds. Not the case. Baltimore, Pittsburgh on the East Coast, cool temperatures, but no wind and no rain in the forecast. And then Seattle and Atlanta in a dome. Next game, Tom, that's Atlanta, and it's Indianapolis and Jacksonville. Heavy rain expected throughout this game, which is why you see those 44.5s right here dropping to 48.5s, dropping to 44.5. But how about this? The side 3.5 is a favorite towards Indy, drops to 2.5. Tom, it's hard to get a good feel in a game that has a ton of rain. Other than, are you looking at ETN props, Bashal Tutin props, or Jonathan Taylor props here? How you play this one out?
For the most part, it's just I would say mostly a stay away. I do like the Jags at home getting the points. The issues that the Colts offense and Daniel Jones have been a bit too much for me to stomach. The Taylor prop at 20.5 for his rush attempts is tough. If it was 19.5, I would love the over, but it really should just be ETN and Tutin. Honestly, I think you can play both of them over on their rush attempts.
Yeah,
but I do not like this game.
I don't like this game because heavy rain. The one thing I don't like is like we see high winds, but heavy rain throws everything off. Hey, wide open pass, boink, dips right off the shoulder pads. I can't. That's some of the worst stuff. Well, Donnie, why don't you just bet unders? And then you say, okay, I took a game in the rain, ended with 60 points because they're fumbling and everybody's wide open and falling down at that point here. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Tom. I don't have a lot on this game. 77% of the tickets here coming in on Tampa Bay. 7.5 is a favorite. It's been that way all week. Low total 41.5. I'm not a big fan of anything New Orleans does. But I look at this and I said, I was sort of dipping into maybe a Bucky Irving prop in this one, but I just stayed away altogether in this game. Are you playing anything in New Orleans and Tampa?
I don't. I mean, I have like Devon Vele and Bucky when it comes to DFS lineups, but I'm not playing him outside of that. It's a tough game. You can't bet it effectively. Like, I know some people want to use the Bucks as like a parlay piece, the Bucks plus someone. The number's a little bit excessive at 390. You can't even pair them with the Rams to get like two teams that should be winning type of situation. I just don't like this game. I think the Bucks win, but the offense has been vastly inconsistent, and I just can't trust the passing options right now.
Just like in Florida, Tom, you see that right around that
More rain
comes in, cloudy, drizzle all throughout, warm temperatures. We get it. Wind speeds are down and low, which is very nice, but it's one of those teams like New Orleans where I don't know if I get a running mate and is Tampa Bay actually going to get pushed in this one? Those are the questions, Tom. Cincinnati and Buffalo should be a really fun one here. You look at the weather conditions, low 30s, very Buffalo-like. Precipitation, you are going to get some snow, but it's always worse than it looks on TV. It should be fine in that situation because look at the wind speeds, Tom, under 10 miles per hour, which will affect the pass rush. But I look at this and I say, I didn't take any wagers on this game. 5.5 is a number for Buffalo. 54.5. Like, you should get explosion. I'm telling you right now, if we didn't have weather concerns, even snow, I'd probably all in on this. But I just feel if the weather concerns are, Tom, we're not going to get a big pass rush. Shouldn't we get 55 points in the snow today in Buffalo? No?
We should. If conditions were perfect, this would be like the game of the year, knowing that we're getting Burrow back healthy, we're getting T. Higgins back. This game screams two things to me. One, Chase Brown over 12.5 rush attempts. Really like him in this spot. The Buffalo Bills run defense still isn't good. I know recent results may look that way, but they also haven't played an offense like this. And then, James Cook is just in an unbelievable spot. His rushing number is up to 100. It was at 99.5, so it's up to 100 even. And his rushing plus receiving is 117. That is a crazy line. Now, listen, he can still have an amazing game and still only end with like 95 combined yards. But there's no reason he shouldn't be pushing over that number. I don't know if there's an effective way to bet this because the lines are so high, Donnie. Like a 100 line on James Cook is crazy to bet into.
Because again, if you numbers are there, as we know, Tom, because that's what the price point is. 100 yards, like in the NFL, is an awesome football game, right? And all it takes is one slow quarter. All it takes is, an interception return touchdown for Buffalo, and you're done at this point here. Chase Brown, 53.5. I actually think that one makes some sense. Josh Allen, of course, is going to be 35.5. But you're right about this. When you're dealing with a game with 55.5, let's call it, in points, you're not getting anything cheap. I do look at Khalil Shakir and I want to take him at this point today because the number is so low. And if you have 55 points, it can't just be we're going to run the ball 50 times in this game for 275 yards. But T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Kincaid comes back 34.5. Touchdown props in this one.
Here's the thing. When the game total is this high, all the lines are inflated. And I've always thought first of all, Josh Allen over 271 passing plus rushing, that's a fine bet.
Yeah.
But games that are at 44 or 45 that end up going over to 50, that's where there's a lot of prop value. That's where you have a guy in the 60s who ends up going to the 90s because the game goes over. When the game's total's already set in the 50s, you're never getting favorable props to bet.
It's wild because it looks like it's going to be a great game, but just a little bit throwing me off.
It's super important.
21 and huge game. Like you can catapult the Bengals back into this if they win, and also the Buffalo Bills, how much energy they have left. We'll see what happens today in that game overall. But some snow in the forecast shouldn't be bad. More of hey, it looks cool on TV. They shouldn't have any problems going up and down the field today. Denver and Las Vegas. Vegas going to have a tough time going up and down the field. That team is going to be getting after it on defense. Who knows what Las Vegas has? You had last week not practicing for just about the entire week was Max Crosby. He says he's going to give it a go. If he's 50% out there, I don't see them stopping that much. It's an ugly game, which has a 40.5 total. And also the line, Tom, now from 7.5 at FanDuel to open, that's now up to 8.5 points here. Denver wins. Am I excited to take them by double digits? But I'll tell you one thing. I can't bet Vegas. If you can't move the football and you're playing an elite defense, I'm out on your team. I don't care how sharp it is to take Vegas today.
There's even with Brock Bowers at a 59.5 line, which is, I think it's objectively a great line to get him at. How many times is Geno Smith going to drop back and be sacked? He's just not going to have enough time to throw. Their offense, again, I say this about the Raiders every week. If they score more than 17 points, I'm going to be shocked.
Correct. That's the only way you can look at it here. And also understand this, correlated markets. Brock Bowers is sensational. The odds makers say he's 60 yards. Let's say he gets 65. Where's the rest of the offense coming from? What, Ginty's going to show up with a 100-yard rushing game? That's not happening. That's, again, correlated markets. If you want Vegas, if Brock Bowers doesn't hit 59.5 yards, Tom, this game is 24-3 final. How about that?
R.J. Harvey, rushing prop. That's the only one I think is viable in this game.
Yes, I agree. And also, by the way, they're screaming at you to take this one. Portland Sutton 48.
I will say I played Sutton.
Did they need to pass in the second half?
Probably not.
Pat Bryant over here with a 30.5 price point. Game I love today, which I do want to watch. It's Chicago and it's Green Bay. Let's get this number popped up on the screen. You take a look here, Tom. Weather conditions. Low wind speed you love. No precipitation, but absolute frigid temperatures that are going to be around 12 degrees tonight by the time this game ends. So the hitting is going to be good. 46.5 has dropped to 43.5 to 44.5. And the side, 5.5 to 6.5. This is one of the sharper games on the board, Tom, because the 5.5s are now sitting at 6.5. And look at this ticket count. 24% of the tickets coming in on Green Bay, yet that line jumped up. I actually do like Green Bay today. Handle it on the ground, see what you can do. Odunze's out. You're not going to run the football the way you saw them run the football against the Eagles last week. Green Bay is stout on defense. I like the Pack by a touchdown. Freezing cold, Tom.
I do too. So we got a lot of things. So like I said, Rome Odunze's out for the Bears. Reed, I would say their best wide receiver, is now back. This is his first game since week 2, I believe, if I remember correctly. He's activated off of IR. Yep. And I said this to Kevin the other day. The Packers have now Reed back. They have Watson. They have Dobbs. They have Wicks. We know Tucker Kraft is done for the season, but they have Luke Musgrave. They have Josh Jacobs, and they have Emmanuel Wilson in the backfield.
Yeah.
There's too many options on offense for any one defense to slow them all down. I know that we have some good options on Chicago, but Chicago's also been on like the right side of variance in so many of these games that I don't know if they have enough offense to keep up the Packers. And I don't think their defense is as good as it's shown in recent weeks.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs around 78.5. I do like, because I do think he gets 15 plus touches in this one. So you look at this way. Oh, wait, Swift and Monangai went over 100 last week. I get that, but now they're just begging you to take either one of those guys in the game today, 47.5 and 45. Touchdown scores, of course, Josh Jacobs is minus 175. He gets the ball on the goal line. But you got, Tom, a ton of action at wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. Like, usually minus 175, it's like, okay, you got a minus 135, then you get a minus 120, you get a plus 100. You go from minus 175, Tom, to plus 175 and up.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
And honestly, if I play any of them, it's probably just playing Reed on Green Bay, knowing that it's his first game back, and maybe it's just like, oh, they'll just get the ball to him, because I truly do believe he is their best player. What is he, 280?
Yeah.
Scores, that number is going to be sub 200 next week. It's going to go from like 280 down to the 150s. I truly believe, because I think he's their best wide receiver, and just get him back in the first game. We're never going to get a better number.
Yeah, if I double up on each side, Tom, I go Swift and Monangai, one of those guys to get a handoff on the goal line, be able to score big price points there. And then I would say to myself, I would go Romeo Doubs in the spot. I don't like to go Christian Watson. I just feel like I just would rather go his over your longest completion, because if he catches a touchdown, to me, it's probably 20-plus yards over that. So Romeo Doubs in the red zone makes a lot of sense. I would take Josh Jacobs, but I'm not playing a minus 175. So you're right. You just have to say, okay, is it going to be Emmanuel Wilson? Well, probably not. Jacobs will probably get those carries. It would be Reed or Wicks for me at that point as those high price points. But it's fascinating because it's cold weather conditions, but you're getting a lot of good money on those touchdown props there. Yeah.
It really is. I would go Dobbs and Reed. I think those were the answers on wide receiver for me. And you could do Josh Jacobs and the Packers money line on GP, and that is minus 109.
Take a look at this next one, Tom. Los Angeles Rams and Arizona. Arizona looks like they are a walking mash unit right now with how many injuries they have. It's Michael Wilson or nothing at wide receiver. Of course, you have McBride at tight end. You have Brissett, who's going to throw the football all over the place against an attacking Rams defense that'll be angry. And also, ain't got to worry about rain in this game either, Tom. We are playing in a dome here. Matthew Stafford over 2.5 touchdown passes is a ridiculous number. 9.5 now in the marketplace. Expectations for a double-digit victory for the Rams. How do you play this one out in this game, Tom?
Honestly, Jacoby Brissett's been like legitimately great.
Yeah.
And his pass attempt number is 37.5, and it's minus 130.
He might throw 50 times.
Which is one of the highest lines I can ever remember seeing. Like Joe Burrow's at 36.5, which will tell you enough. But this is Jacoby in his recent games. 40 attempts, 49, 57, 44, and he's thrown for a low of 258 yards. And he's thrown for over 300 in 3 straight games. Yeah. So I like Jacoby over 253, and Michael Wilson is the guy for the Cardinals. He steps into a huge role when Marv Harrison is out. As we know now, the target concentration that they have around Wilson and McBride when Harrison is out and when Jacoby is starting is so high. The Rams win, but I still think we're going to see some big yards from Wilson and Brissett today.
Gotcha. And how about the final game of the night tonight, Houston and Kansas City?
Yeah.
3 offensive linemen down for Kansas City, Tom. And I say to myself, do I want to take Houston with the 3.5? Probably I do. But I'm telling you right now, that 41.5, where are the explosive plays coming for both teams in this game? I don't know. I actually like the under 41.5 in a Kansas City game with temperatures, Tom, in the mid-20s in this one. No precipitation, lighter winds here. I'm taking the better defense because I've seen too much of Kansas City get pulverized on the offensive line. This is the best defense they're going to face. I like the under in this game.
I do like the under in this game. Again, this is also like effectively an elimination game for both teams.
Yes.
Where they're not mathematically eliminated, but if you lose this, you're basically cooked. I like Kelsey over his yards, and I like him over the yards because of what you're talking for 2 things. One, I spoke to you earlier in the week that Derek Stingley Jr. is probably going to be on Rice covering him. I look to Worthy, don't like that. But if the offensive linemen are down and this pass rush from Houston is getting out from Holmes, he's got to get it out quickly to Kelsey, and that's where the low A dot will come in. Get it out quickly, 6 targets, or 6 catches gets him over this number.
I love it. All right, Tom, let's wrap this bad boy up. 1 minute to kick off here from me. If I'd say, you know what, give me one wager I like. Give me Justin Jefferson today, 62.5 yards to the over. Something has to click. He'll get force-fed the football today. Tom, where are you going with some action today?
Really do like Kelsey tonight. Give me the under in that game. I like Chase Brown over 12.5 rush attempts for Cincinnati. And I got to side with the Jags at home, getting points in a sloppy divisional game.
Let's do it, man. Kickoff tonight. Monday Night Football tomorrow is the Philadelphia Eagles. Tom, you're going to be at the party tomorrow night, so right? There you
I
go.
will not be here for the pregame.
There you go. No pregame. Busy night tomorrow. We'll have some fun. Go Eagles, as we said. Miami's in the college football playoff. Notre Dame is out, and away we go. Time to kick off. Thanks for joining us, guys. For Tom Vecchio, Donnie Wright, we'll see you soon.